Okay, hi everyone. So for this lab, actually, you will required to configure your ACL access control list using named standard IPv4 ACL. If you read the instruction here, your lab actually not too long. Very simple. We have two parts. First part to configure and apply the named standard ACL, and then verify the ACL implementation after you complete the configuration. So you are given this topology pre-configured for you, right? We have different network. Four switches, which one switch connected web server, one switch for file server, and another switch for user, web manager, and so on. So today we see what you need to do. First, verify the connectivity before your configuration, before you apply the ACL. So meaning here you want to access your web server and file server from all PCs, 3 PCs, right? Example, PC manager can ping this one, right? Web server and file server. File server first, you click on it, right? Ping file server, and then you try to ping your web server. Okay, see here the background. Seniors network admin has asked you to create standard name ACL to prevent access to file server. The file server contains the database for the web application. Only web manager, workstation PC1, and the web server need to access the file server. All other traffic to the file server should be denied. So this is the default requirement. But before you configure your ACL, should be every PCs can access, right, by default before you apply the ACL. So okay, no problem. So you can ping also server this from PC1. PC1 meaning here web manager. Normally web manager can access lah later once you configure this web manager, so should be allowed. But this one by default will be allowed, but later you need to deny, right? See here, can by default can access lah, right? For sync with the PC2. Okay, can before configuration all can be ping to both file server and web server. Later, once we configure, ultimately only web manager workstation PC1 and web server need to access file server. All traffic to file server should be denied. Admin here, later all this can access web server, but for file server only web manager can access directly, and then web server only can access file server. This is common where most of application nowadays they're using 3-tier or 2-tier web application, right? So user will only can access the front end, for example the web server lah, and then web server will connect to file server to serve the information, to deliver the information that user required. So mean the user cannot access directly to file server. Only can be accessed the information through the web server, and then web server only can access to file server. So this is the tier, 2 tier or 3 tier web application. Okay, and this is the concept. Okay, now start to configure your router 1. Quite simple. Okay. So just follow. You can type mana. IP access list, standard file server restriction. The file server restriction is the name that you can configure if you want to use other name, for example, for other type of services or types of servers that you want to configure the ACL, you can do it. This is the customized based on what you require. Because access control list also can be used in multiple application or multiple or different type of use case study. Next, you will permit the host. This one actually web manager, right? Web manager. See, web manager address. You only want to permit this host access the, then this one actually the web server. Okay, web server address, right? Other than that, we'll put deny any. Other than that, we'll deny. Okay. So you see the completion 50%. Scoring purpose, ACL name is case sensitive. That means you need to follow correctly, right? Next, show access. This is what you already put. Permit and deny. Same, right? Alright. Now apply the name ACL. This is the name for server restriction. This is your name. You want to apply the ACL outbound on the fast Ethernet 0.1 interface. Meaning here fast Ethernet 0.1. Sorry. 200 network 200.1. You go to your fast Ethernet interface. Interface F01. F01. Then you type again your access list with the name. The list, the name here, server restriction. You have name and number, but here we're using name file server restriction for outbound traffic. Oops, sorry. This one outbound. So meaning here the interface 0 F01 for those interface that outbound, that means go out from the 01, that means the switch to lah. So I think the switch to, okay, this one file server. Okay, FA01 actually for file server. Any traffic that get from the interface, that's mean outbound. So meaning here, coming in from other interface into that and go out into the F01 interface. That means all the traffic from switch 1, switch 2, switch 0 will go through the switch 3. They will be checked. Okay, this is the fast internet 01 interface out, and save the configuration. You can write, you can see, save the configuration. Okay. Sorry, I didn't put here. Copy, config, start config, right? Okay. Save already. So when you save 100%, right? Save configuration. Now you are required to verify, is it connection okay or not. First, verify the ACL configuration and application to the interface. Show access list command. Okay, so you want to show your access list. Okay, still go. This one. Show run or show IP interface. So this is also, you can find the information here. Okay, so listed there, and you can also use show IP interface for specific interface that you configure. This is the interface Roman, right? Same. You can see here all the configuration applied. Right? So from where can be broadcast and minimal, right? So now this is the configuration time, but we want to verify is it working or not. All three workstations should be able to ping web server, but only PC1 and web server should be ping the file server. I repeat, show accessly command to see the number of packets that match each statement. Okay. So by default, all can access the web server. It's still there lah. The web server. It's what, right? 100 is what for web servers. Okay. All can, right? PC1. PC2, right? But PC2, when you configure, should be denied to access your file server. DC file server should be denied. Okay, yes, destination unreachable. Similarly with PC0. PC0 should be only can access the web server. Before the ACL configuration, you can see PC0 can ping both web server and file server, but now when you already apply, should be only can be ping web server, cannot ping your file server. You see, this is considered like in real implementation. We are creating or we are deploying database server as this one, file server as database server. So these two PCs cannot directly access the file server. They can only access the web server as front-end service. And then PC1 should be can access both because admin, right? Only admin required to have access both because they need to configure, need to maintain, right? As admin, in both. Okay. But normally in real implementation, if you are database admin, you can still access your your database server, but you need specific application. For example, you require Microsoft MS SQL client version, or they have their own APIs lah, right? Not directly access to the server from your remote desktop. This is good. Okay, so meaning here PC1 as admin, web manager can access both web server and file server. This means he or she can access front end and back end service. Then you can see web server should have also configure access for file server. In 1, 2, 6, 8. Sorry. Okay, also can. Because a web server consider your front end should be able to communicate with file server as intermediary between end user lah. Right, this is the use cases. Okay, I think that's all. The completion should be 100%. It's very simple. I take some time to give some explanation, but for you, if you directly configure, I think less than 5 minutes you can complete. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.